Tell us, what's your favorite event of all the events?
Oh, that's like asking which one of my kids is my favorite. Can't ask me that.
On today's podcast, we welcome an absolute industry veteran, inducted into the Women in Poker Hall of Fame and winner of the GPI Industry Person of the Year Award 2018. We host none other than Vice President Global Tour Management of the renowned World Poker Tour brand, Angelica Hael. Welcome to the podcast, Ange.
G'day, Chris. How's it going?
Everything's great. We have a bit of a time difference. You're in the morning, we're in the afternoon, but I guess the weather's still good. You're in a desert, right?
Oh yes, it's I landed here a couple of days ago, and it's winter here in Vegas, and it's warmer here than it is in Melbourne when we just hit summer. So yeah, go figure that out.
Wow. So, I mean, obviously you've been in this industry such a long time, and I think it's good for the audience just to get a little bit of your background, understand, how did you even get into this industry? It's quite niche, so I'd be interested to hear, how did it even happen?
Well, many moons ago, I was a young university student, and I was looking for a job that I could earn a bit of cash on the side and continue on my university. So I happened to have been fortunate enough to get a job as a dealer.
Oh, cool.
Over at Crown Casino in Melbourne, and that's how basically it all started. So that was a long time ago, but yes, I started as a croupier, and have not left the industry since.
But why poker? Like, what is it that has drawn you to poker?
It's so interesting. It literally, like, it's I think but by pure accident, I happened to just stumble in the casino industry. I could have gone on to other parts of the business, but poker, I seem to just naturally gravitate towards that. I don't know what does that say about me, right? But I find the human beings there so full of life, full of character, full of flavor. So yeah, it's just something that I've always gravitated towards, and I've just never left.
Yeah, I guess it's very lively, right? There's such so many emotions involved in poker and
Yes.
playing poker, and also the
Yes.
sport factor as well. So, like, there's a lot of
Yeah.
tugging and pulls to the
Yes.
industry.
Yeah. The spectrum of life is definitely represented. Yeah, for sure.
Do you play yourself?
Oh, I am a complete fish, mate. Like, I am the best person to play against. Like, pure recreational player. Absolutely, just love donking off my money, and I'm having fun doing it. It's a very much a relaxing thing for me. I'd say I'm definitely more of a cash game player with my nosebleed 1, 2, 2, 5 games that I frequent. But I think I play a very valuable part of the entire ecosystem.
Oh, you definitely do. That's for sure.
Yeah. Somebody, not because I'm such a fish, but because I truly and thoroughly enjoy, it's a good pastime, an excellent hobby. I just,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's what pulls so many people to the game. But you've been with World Poker Tour now for so long. I mean, 13 years or something. I mean, just talk us through like what you've built there, because they're such a famous brand in the poker industry, and to be with them so long, you've obviously had so much contribution to not just World Poker Tour, but poker as a whole ecosystem, like you said. So maybe talk to us about what you've built there.
Yeah, well, I'm about to enter my 13th year in a couple of months with WPT.
Congratulations.
And, thank you very much. I mean, it's funny that you say, what I've built, but, this department technically did not exist until I came on board. So that was, it was before my own babies came. The joke is that this one was my, my original baby, right? The OB. This is my OB. And but to say that it was me that built it, is a complete fallacy, because, mate, like, it's a massive global brand, and I still can't believe, like, when our then CEO said, build something and start from scratch and see how it goes. But to see it migrate, over the last 13 years, the people, that I've had the privilege to have worked alongside with, the people that continue to be with us today, the human beings that, is about to deliver the biggest festival of our 20-year history. I mean, oh my God. So yeah, it's it's a testament to the DNA of the people that work at WPT, because we are an insane, crazy bunch. I tell you that, massive global brand, but there aren't many of us. It's not like when I first started, I thought there would be like hundreds upon hundreds of employees, because it's a huge brand. And then it wasn't, it wasn't. There aren't many of us, so that should really say something about the people that work here, that you could have such a mammoth brand, and to be under 100 employees. I think there's like 60 of us or something like that.
Crazy.
So yeah, it's crazy. It's insane, but good ride.
Yeah, for sure. And talk to us about the festival. Like you said, this is one of the biggest achievements of the World Poker Tour. So tell everybody a little bit about what's going on there.
Chris, we've never, we're, what is it? I think we're in 6 continents. The global tour is in 6 continents. Well, we're about to go into a 6th continent, right?
Okay.
Except Antarctica. And if it wasn't so damn cold, and there's more penguins than human beings, would probably, put a flag there. So I don't know, maybe next year we'll go and have a crack at Antarctica.
Get some ice tables, ice tables outside.
Yes, exactly. But we have never had a festival where every single human being in the entire company has had a hand on one particular item, right? Wow. I can tell you, from our receptionist all the way up to our CEO, oh my goodness, everyone has had a stamp. Everyone has had an integration. Everyone has had a contribution. Wow. And that should tell something about, about what this means to us. And so, the 20 years, that, was like May of 2002. So we celebrated that, some months back. And it's, the culmination of the history, the legacy, and all that good stuff is, has started to be unveiled. We had a meetup game on December 1st. Over here at the Win, and I mean, the 1-2-2-5, and Ivy is playing, Brunson is in the room, Aoki is there, Patrick Antonius is there. I mean, I was still in Melbourne, and I'm telling you, like, if I wasn't like an employee of WPT, mate, I would have jumped on the plane. Like, where and when on earth are you even going to have a crack at something like that? So, that's kind of like set the tone for the next 21 days for us here over at Win Las Vegas. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds really, really exciting. But what does it take?
You need to be here, Chris.
Yeah, I'm jealous. Like, I want to be there. Like, it's making me jealous. But like, what does it take to put a tour together? Like, as poker players, you just go along. It's there. It's all done, all sorted. And you just show up and you play and you go home. But like, how do you, like, what goes into it from like the player's perspective? How are you thinking about the players, and how do you manage a tour from that aspect?
Yeah, it's a little bit, it's a combination of art and science, right? And what I mean by that is, obviously, there's a lot of thought that goes behind the strategy, that goes behind which country do you enter? What is a good country? What is the location? So once you identify the continent, you identify the country, then you identify the right partners, right? So you start from over here. Sometimes it goes the other way, like, oh my God, like, I would love to have a crack at like Seminole, Hollywood over in Florida, right? Okay. But you're like, this is like 13 years ago, right? They're one of our 11 years. And so you start by saying, okay, who do we know there? who is within our ecosystem that can
Mm-hmm.
facilitate introduction. Sometimes it's the other way around. The partner will approach us and, have a look at, the schedule. So it's what I mean, but it's art and science,
Yeah.
because you have to take into consideration the right partner,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's not, it's not like WPT can just partner with everybody. Obviously, when you say WPT, that's thousands of players,
Mm-hmm.
and not every property around the world can facilitate the sheer number of resources. I'm not even, Chris, I'm not even talking about just the tables, right? I'm talking about the amenities and the facilities.
Yeah.
If you bring, thousands of players into your property and descend on that, well, can you feed them? Where do they stay? What about security and surveillance? Like all of these types of things, right?
Yeah.
And the big one is like the scheduling. We've got 365 days of the year. We don't want to do cannibalization of our own events, so we need to be able to move the players and say, okay, at this particular time frame, I'll see you at Choctaw, right? And then you want to make sure that if there's something happening at Choctaw or over at Thunder Valley in Northern California, you better not have something down the road, because now, you're splitting up your player base, right? So we're super, super careful about making sure that every global event that we have has its own moment in the sun. And it's that's just some of the things. I'm not tell you everything about the secret of a global tour, running a global tour, but that should give you enough flavor. And obviously, when I'm talking about location, it's brilliant to just not have poker, right? Like, it's very important for us to have that sort of VIP experience, that off the felt activities. That's huge for us, because obviously a player, they have limited bankrolls, no matter which continent you happen to be at. And so if you've only got a certain amount, like you want to have the players to say, okay, I can play poker, but like maybe in between days or something like that, I can go down the beach, right? So that's awesome. You can go to Gold Coast in Australia. It's freaking 100 meters from your hotel. You can see it from your balcony. You can see it from your window. Bang, off you go and have a swim, right? When we went over to Madrid, the street that never sleeps. I lived in Spain for a little while, and so I was like, oh my God, like we gotta go there, when we went over this year. So yeah, lots of different things goes into a successful global tour.
Yeah, there you go, guys. Like, it's not as simple as just like scheduling and setting up some tables. You gotta think, you got to think about all the food, and if the players have got a place to stay, and like all the other things that go along with it. And there's so many things that seem to go along. Like, so basically, you're great at organizing. That's what I can understand from your
I'm
answer.
great. I'm great at organizing, but more importantly, I am surrounded by people who are like, Germanic and Japanese in their efficiency and time management. You know what I mean? Or Swiss people, like just on time, on point, and on the ball.
And how did you guys deal with COVID? Obviously, your live tour. I mean, what was it? What was it like? The day of realization that, like, okay, what the hell is going to happen now, kind of thing.
Yeah. So interesting, Chris. Like for us, when COVID first reared its bloody ugly head, it was February 2020.
Yeah, that was it.
In our ecosystem, right? And I remember it was January 2020, and we were about to have a WPT Philippines event in February 2020.
Okay.
Now I started hearing about it. I'm like, oh, okay, this could just be a continent issue, right? Like SARS, like years back, right? Okay, maybe it's just going to be just in the Asia Pacific region. Let's pay close attention to it and stuff. And we absolutely had to cancel that. So we were literally in the middle of a tournament, and we had to cancel it because it's like, oh my gosh, that's it. Like, get your refund, get your, whatever else. There's the registration. Like, get, you have to leave the building, type stuff. And so again, we thought, okay, maybe it's just one of those things. So it really wasn't until March where we just really like realized, oh my God, this is like this most significant issue that we had. And now, it was a just like for everybody else. It's just like the darkest period of our time, really. Even from the global tour, there was period where the uncertainty, right? Because for us it was years. I mean, we are still living with the ramifications of COVID, Chris. Like here in the US, right? I don't know if you know this. I mean, up until very recently, I think it's still the case today. If you're if you're not an American citizen or a resident, you cannot come into the United States without being vaccinated, right? And so, there's so many players around the world that that is unable to to be here. So there's places around the world that we haven't even it's not as robust as we would expect, because they still have a lot of quarantine regulations and stuff like that. So for most of the world, we have moved on and everything, but for the live global tour, for WPT, the ramifications are still very much in place. But you just, like everything else in life, you roll with it. You're given something, and then you adjust and you pivot, and you hope that to deliver something that still resonates within the global community. And I think here at the Wynn Las Vegas, I think we're very much alive and well on that front.
Yeah,
judging
okay, I was just about to ask, like, are you seeing it affect the numbers? Because we've had some live tournaments that came back in Malta that were extremely successful before, thousands of players.
Yes.
They've managed to come back with, very strong. Actually, there was I could see that.
Oh no, it's that sentiment's definitely mirrored. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah, I think we have a delay. Yeah, all good. Like I said, they came back really strong, and I think they were hesitant, and they lowered all the guarantees, but all the guarantees were smashed. I think people are really itching to get out. Like, let's get back to the tables.
Yeah, no, it's that certainly is something that has been felt on WPT's live global tour front as well. I mean, we were back with a vengeance. We had like, I think it was Seminole over in Hollywood, Florida, that was one of the first ones to really open its doors again. And, they still had the safe health and safety measures, but we got smashed. Like literally, it's like a stock take sale, like, all things being given away for free, people, ramming through the doors. And, we're just like, oh my God, maybe it's an American thing. No, it was an American thing. Same thing happened in Europe, same thing happened in Australia, same thing happened in Asia. And I think, that's what happens. People, had, money to burn in their pockets, I suppose. And you lock people up, and that's what happens. They go out with a vengeance. So we have had a record year in our 20-year history, like this year, when really the doors started opening. Yeah. The windows, every entrance of the house to be freaking open. So yeah, it's amazing. And now they're all here. It feels like everyone is here in over at the Wynn Las Vegas. And you're asking about the numbers and stuff, man. Like, Wynn had predictions and projections for the numbers that we would be getting to the side events. We had our own projections as well. It's been bloody smashed. The hotel, there's some days where the Encore hotel, the Wynn hotel has been sold out. So and it's December in Vegas. That's crazy. We can only go with what we're seeing. So yeah, it's through the roof. It's through the roof.
How do you even project something like that? It sounds like, you've got a new event or whatever.
Yes.
How do you even project, like, okay, this is going to be the turnout? And it sounds like very difficult to do.
Yeah, art and science, mate. Art and science. So you're right, though. We have never, not for lack of trying, we have never partnered with Wynn. We have tried over the years and stuff, but I guess it had to take 20 years of to do this match made in heaven type thing. So you go with like, okay, they have their own Wynn Millions brand. They are Wynn Las Vegas. So when you're talking about those types of factors, you have a number in your head, right? So okay, Then we bring our brand into the equation. Okay, what do we normally bring to the table?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a rough kind of like idea of like, okay, if these two things met together and decided to, shake hands and be partners, what do you get? So, it's art and science.
Yeah, match made in heaven.
Match made in heaven, yeah.
What are you looking forward to most in the current festival?
Oh my gosh. We are looking forward to just, I don't know, we're like what is today? It's the December 7th. So we're a week into the festival. We're here until December 21st. And so I think I don't know, Chris, like so many
Too many
freaking things. There's just so many things. We have the this is not in order of importance, right? Because I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know. There's just so many things. But certainly we have we're hosting a thank you players party on December 11th. So I don't know if you've been to Area 15 over here in Vegas. It's one of their brand new attractions. Man, that's a freaking awesome place.
Okay.
I had to look at that, and so it's I think there's an overarching theme for us. And it's to celebrate our 20 years. Obviously, that's really great. But we want to be able to say it's a thank you for us.
Mm-hmm.
That is the theme. Thank you to the players, right? Thank you to the global casino partners. Thank you to the millions of people that watch us, not just on tele, but on OTT platforms. Right? People who buy our merchandise, people who, play on Club WPT, people that play on WPT Global, right? There's so many touch points for the WPT brand. Obviously the global tour is one of them. The TV is another part, but there's so many ways that people get to enjoy the WPT brand. And it was just so important for us to be able to convey sincerely, tell the global community that we are thankful. And so I am cursing you are not here because, there's a lot of thought and care that went to, because you can't just say thank you, right? You can, of course you can, but there's so many things that, we really tried to, to do. So I hope that sentiment really, gets conveyed to the players and to everybody.
How do you plan to do that? Do you have like some special things planned, or?
Yeah, just organic things. It's not like we have our thank you players party. There's just lots of ways that we try to do it without smacking you in the face.
Yeah.
Because that's just like so that's why I'm cursing you're not here, but hopefully
there's still time. I mean,
hey, we're just kicking off our seniors event, but Prime Championship kicks off on December 8th. Yeah, we've got 3-day ones. You can fly over here. There's still plenty of time, and obviously the biggest one for us is the main event, right? The World Championship, the 10K event, and so 15 million guaranteed, right?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Actually, no other brand has done that to say guaranteed off the bat. Bloody 6 months ago when we announced this in June that we're going to do this. And so that has been, obviously that's generated a lot of, buzz. And if the chatter and the feedback and the sentiment and all these, the numbers that we're seeing here, the satellites, all of those things, all pointing towards that direction, but not until you close Rego on day 1C will you really know the numbers. But
exactly,
we're fairly confident.
Do you ever get like nervous in the fact that you won't make the guarantees, or that the numbers will be a lot less than you think? Because like obviously it's quite nerve, especially in an event like this where there's a lot that you've put up and it's like, okay, we better make those numbers.
Yeah, you build Rome, right? And you're like, bloody hell, we built Rome, freaking people better come. So I mean, you'd be a dumbass if you weren't sweating, right? Anytime you have a guarantee. The casino partner, WPT, you sweat it. You're just like, okay, and then it just...
That's part of the fun as well, right? That's part of the fun.
Yeah.
I guess I bet that's like a bit of the rush, the players, they're getting their own rush, but you're getting your own rush from just seeing, is this, is this going to work?
Mate, there's a lot of side bet action that goes on. Let's put it that way, right? Like stalking every level, year-on-year comparison. Like, okay, are we on track? How much are we going to smash it? All these sort of things. But it's taken. We're talking about it in jest, but it's taken very seriously, obviously. But everything that we've seen so far indicates that we're in a good path. So yeah,
fingers crossed.
I mean, the festival, what is it, like $22.5 million in guarantees across the 21 days festival. So it's a huge number, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we're confident. We're looking confident. That's for sure.
We are. I mean, between, we're talking about the brands, right? We're talking about Match Made in Heaven, Win Las Vegas, WPT, awesome, great partnership. But obviously, one of the big things that, we were talking before about, what does it take? What are the things that you got to, be planning and thinking about is, the pathways for just like someone like me. Like I told you, I'm a recreational player, right? I don't have 10 G's burning a hole in my pocket. Like, that's just a buy-in, but my airfare and, my hotel, that it could, it amounts. And so one of the big things that we made sure was in place was like the pathways and the networks of how does a normal human being get to come here, right? How do you do it? Right. The majority of players don't have this kind of like money and stuff like that. And so, and we're here for ages. We're here for 20 days. So how do you make sure that, I want to have a crack at the ladies championship, which incidentally I'm going to be donating to. So there you go. That should be its own marketing tool. Knock me out of that one. But the pathways to get here. And so, Club WPT in the US, is the only way that you can qualify online. And then internationally, WPT Global, is the other way that you get yourself here, right? So that's super important. And then all global casino partners, they had ways, they ran satellites, they ran promotions. We have people from Slovakia, Barbados, Australia, Vietnam, Japan, India, like everywhere. They're all coming from everywhere. So that's super important, to make sure that we have measures in place, to have everybody, no matter what their bankroll is, to find themselves, over here, and win Las Vegas. So I'm pretty confident between our efforts and, win. I mean, by the time this is over, I think a couple of hundred SATI winners are coming from win. So between those efforts, our efforts, mate, we're looking at like, 500 plus. From that side of the pie, just pure SATI winners, whether that's online or offline, they're here, they're coming.
Yeah, so, it's amazing. It's amazing, like that people can. It's the one thing about poker, you can experience this, awesome lifestyle just in a short space. So tell us, what's your favorite event of all the events?
Oh, that's like asking which one of my kids is my favorite. Can't ask you that.
Doesn't mean you don't have an answer, though.
Doesn't mean I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean, I don't know about the favorite. That's a contentious thing, but
we can give it a top few. Like so you don't have to put it in order.
But what, like in all honesty, like because me professionally, I can determine which territory we enter and which partner we partner with. So there's a degree of like, well, every place is unique. Every location has its own, offering that makes it, attractive and stuff like that. So, if fingers and toes crossed, next week, I think we will be in a position to announce the first half of our season 21 schedule, because if we weren't insanely busy enough, we're also trying to plan for, it's December now, season 21 for us kicks off in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah,
Jan
exactly.
is. So our plan is to announce the first half of the season 21 schedule. And I think, people will be pleasantly surprised by some of the announcements that we're going to be making. So we have some new stops to announce. And then, we have like the fan favorites that's been with us, for a very long time. So, so
Exciting stuff.
about that. Yeah, for sure, mate, for sure. Yeah.
So tell us, like, what's it like being a female in a heavily male-dominated industry? I'm sure that's something that gets asked of you, quite often.
Yeah. To be, I sometimes forget.
Okay.
I remember a long time ago, I walked into a boardroom, and it was just all guys, and
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm freaking blind when it comes to these things. And it wasn't until after the meeting somebody said, "Ange, like, do you realize you were like," I mean, it was a boardroom. It's like a very serious meeting and stuff. And I just completely went over my head. I just like, I don't know, like, I just, not really, I don't really pay attention to, to those types of things. And I think it's a lot to do with my, when I started off as a dealer, I dealt with like
Exactly.
really, I dealt to a whole gamut of human beings, right? Like the things that fascinate me the most, I was dealing with them on a one-to-one basis, type thing. And so, super rich, high end, your 1%ers and stuff like that. And what it really tells you is that, we're just basically the same.
Yeah.
We bleed red, and we care about, for the most part, the same things as everybody else. And so a lot of these things that being having the opportunity to rise to my profession, being a woman, I guess I just kind of take it all in my stride. And sometimes I forget that, oh yeah, that's right, like, oh yeah, I'm the only chick here. I'm like, okay, that's interesting, next.
But you must have some qualities that you believe, that really took you this far. What would you say they were?
Qualities. What are the qualities? I have some serious OCD issues, Chris.
Okay.
Well, no, I just on a personal level, I'm just driven by things that, I wasn't gifted. Like, I don't have athletic abilities, right? Like when I was young, I'm quite tall for part Asian person,
Okay.
like I'm not petite, tiny, type thing. I'm quite supersized and, quite big, type stuff. And I don't know why I'm telling you those types of things, but I guess I'm just, kind of saying that I guess I'm built in a different way,
Okay.
right? Figuratively, metaphorically, type thing. And I wasn't blessed with like athletic abilities.
Okay.
When I was young, I was so tall that I played basketball, but I'm so freaking unco. I was center. I was when I was like 14 years old, and I just stopped
Just get in the
going.
way, Ange. Forget the ball. Just get in the way.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I'm so tall against, in that age group, and I was a center, but like I was so uncovered, no dribbling skills, but doesn't matter. I was so tall. And, I just didn't have those athletic abilities. But what I was, I'd like to say blessed with is that I will just do whatever it takes. It didn't matter what what was, given to me. I had a very, grew up in a single parent home. It was just my mom. She worked multiple jobs. She had 3 kids. She friggin' worked her ass off. And that sort of, that sort of drive, that work ethic, right? You gotta have that in you. And then, nature and nurture, right? Like, my environment was already like that. And, in my DNA as well, that was just super important, that whatever I bloody did, I give it every single thing until there's nothing left. You know,
It's the number one
yeah,
quality, like, for success. It's the number one proven quality is like hunger to succeed. That's it
yeah.
trumps everything else. So
Yeah,
it's-
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And I think, again, I think I'm just blessed because I freaking love this. I
yeah.
think that's the other part, right? Because I think you can have the DNA in you,
Hmm.
you can have the environment that puts you towards that path, but you must love.
Yeah.
You must be obsessed. You must be absolutely just like live and breathe something, right? Doesn't, for me, I thought it was basketball, but it was crap. So it can't be basketball, right? Like, I can't bake for shit. So I can't do that. Right. There's lots of things I'm not blessed with, but there's the other qualities and stuff. I think because this industry, because this game, it is what I am obsessed with. So, it's those qualities that merge together and the industry that I love. Voila. There you go.
It's an unlikely obsession, isn't it? I mean, like, I guess if you were younger, you would never have pictured yourself, like, it just wouldn't be a thought. So it's
No,
so
no, I
interesting how it
did.
turns out.
Yeah, when I was young, no, absolutely not. Even going to university, I mean, I majored in international business, so that should have given me a little bit of a clue, like where my head is at, because I was poor, right, and then my escape was like books, travel, and
Okay.
all of those things, the things that I couldn't afford, and then so maybe as a young girl, subconsciously and consciously, I was like, no, I want, one day I want to be able to go to these places. And that's probably where the obsession comes from. That's why I just like, okay, let's put the world in WPT. Where can we go? Oh, let's go to all 7 continents. And they're like, oh no, Antarctica's too bloody cold. No, 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 don't like that. But everywhere else, it's free game. Let's have a crack at that. No?
Yeah, it seems like the perfect combination. You found like the winning combination for you for fulfillment, and obviously that leads into success. What advice would you have for any other women trying to get into the industry? Either as a player or on the operator side. What would
Yeah.
be some key things you
Yeah.
would advise them?
Yeah, I think it's a phase, Chris. It's just
Mhm.
like a different cycle and this doesn't apply to just women. It applies to both to all genders and stuff like that. I've been in this industry with WPT for nearly 13 years in a couple of months. Certainly in the industry, many moons ago, over 2 decades and stuff. And it's when you first start in any career, you don't know. You
Yeah.
don't know what you don't know,
Yes.
right? So you figure it out, right? You're like, oh gosh, like, oh, I didn't know about that. And of course, nobody holds your hands and go, well, Ange, that's not the sort of shit you would say to people. Like, oh, you need to have that degree of awareness,
Yeah.
right? That level of emotional intelligence to be able to read a room, to have something that's palpable in the air, and be cognizant of that. But of
Mhm.
course, when you're young, is starting, you don't know the industry, you don't know the people in there that you're dealing with. So
Mhm.
so many things in life is just a little bit of like trial and error. And for someone like me, who's quite chatty and just very curious about who you're dealing with and stuff, I think that's very important, right?
Mhm.
And so that's your start of your career. And then obviously as you progress, you're like, okay, is this something that that will fascinate you? Is this
Yeah.
something that will make you lose sleep at night? Is this something that in the morning when you wake up, you're like, okay, well, how can I be better? And then
Mhm.
towards now, like where I'm at the I'm at the stage where I'm thinking, I'd like to be able to do something that matters,
Mhm.
right? And again, I'm not an athlete, I'm not a brain surgeon, I'm not going to be able to make those types of changes, but like, what can I contribute, right? What and through the lens and through the perspective of having the opportunity of being part of the World Poker Tour, to be in a position to go, okay, what, you've chosen this industry, you are absolutely obsessed with it,
Mhm.
how can you make it better so that somebody like me who lives over in, in India and, in Amsterdam, Australia, how do you give and deliver that experience so that that human being, enjoys the experience? So, it's very much a different phases of your career. And, I guess my only advice, like anything in life, is like, mate, if you're not going to give it your 110 friggin' percent, go find something else to bloody do. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense, and it makes sense. And I think it's such a good philosophy, asking what you can give rather than what you can get from something,
Yeah.
and the result will always be much better in what you can give, and you'll just feel so
Yes.
much better for doing it. So,
Yes.
and it will come
100%.
through. It will come through the result. Like they're obviously very
Yes.
lucky to have you if that's your philosophy, because it's clearly working.
Oh, I'm the lucky one, mate. I'm not under any illusion. So many people, look for that something, and because of one reason or another, they're not able to find it, and so that's what combination of different things. Once you find something that you are just madly, just really love and passionate about, like you freaking hang on and you don't let go, and you just like, let's go, right? I was gonna say LFG, but I'm like, oh, my kids sometimes watch things, so better watch the potty mouth, mama.
Fair enough. Okay, talk to us about like some challenges you've had along the way that were like difficult, which you overcame.
Um, with the through the WPT, I think definitely COVID
Yeah,
was like definitely the biggest one, and not just because of the normal supply chain issues, right? Like, oh my God, is like my
yeah, yeah.
50 poker tables and chairs gonna arrive in time, right? Like, not even that, right? Or they're gonna get impounded, and duties and customs,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the international shipping yard. It's not even that. It is the uncertainty, Chris, right? It is like, okay, you know, prior to season 20 now, we had like 65, 70 global events, and they came to a screeching halt. And then it came in stages, right? North America, United States was one of the first ones to emerge. But even within the US, different states that we were on, we were waiting for, you got to wait for the federal change, then the state change, then the local change, right? That's one freaking country.
yeah.
Now magnify that in like 20 plus countries. So you have a plan A, then you're up to plan G, because you just, I don't know. And the thing is, it's not even the casinos that dictated a lot of this. It is with government agencies, right? Like, sorry, Ange, we'd love to have something with WPT, but we're capped at like 2,000 people per square meter at this. I'm like, well, how are you going to calculate that when we have a WPT event? Freaking thousands of people come. What are we going to do? Like, how do those types of things. So it's the uncertainty. It's
Yeah.
like, are we going to have this event? What is it going to look like? Are people going to enjoy it? Right? Why have something if you know that it's going to be half-assed, delivered and experienced by the players? Don't do it. Wait, see, have a look what's going to happen. So that's definitely, we can handle supply chain issues. We can handle, things that are within our control. But the things that are not within our control, or even the casino partners' control, that's the most
Yeah.
difficult part, and magnified 5-6 continents. That's the tricky part.
Yeah.
But
I mean, my friend run an event company as well, and I remember when COVID came along, and I'm thinking like, this is just, for the air industry, travel industry, hotels, live events. It's just like the killer. It's like, okay, what is going to happen here? This is just so yeah.
yeah,
It was very interesting. Like I think it put people in a lot of tough decisions, but I think it's
yes,
also good because people, you know, you can really see what people can do, and they become very resilient to these
oh
things
yeah.
afterwards.
100%, 100%. I mean, our headquarters, we have two offices. Our corporate headquarters is over in Irvine, in California, Southern California. And then obviously we have our production office in LA. But for the most part, all of us prior to COVID lived in Irvine or its surrounds. Now the majority of the company lives online.
Yes.
Right. And so you sit there and go, oh my God, like you can literally run a company. You can run whatever, industry you happen to be in because of the technology that we have at our fingertips. And you're right about the resilience, right? It is, if there is one thing that COVID taught us, it is, mate, like you do whatever it takes, to get something done. And, you just figure it out, be flexible, adaptable, pivot, right? Pivot in real time. And, it'll work itself out.
Yeah. Forced innovation is how I like to look at COVID.
Oh, I like that. Forced innovation. Yes. I'm going to steal that, Chris. I like that.
Go for it. Take it all you like.
I like it.
So, I've also been in poker a long time. I'd be interested to hear how you think poker itself, during your time at the World Poker Tour has changed as an industry.
Yeah. Through WPT's lens, it's, been interesting, right? I joined in 2000 and early 2010. And, some things are very much still the same, right? Like, we have always been, integrated with RMGs, right? With, real money gaming. We have our mainstream sponsors, a lot of those, types of stuff. Fast forward to 13 years later, and, I feel like there's a palpable resurgence. Right? Like I feel like, I mean, I'm walking around, Win Las Vegas here, and it's like, oh my God, like I saw you last time in Japan. Like, oh my gosh, you were in Netherlands, like, and I haven't seen you in years.
Yeah.
And they're here. Right. And so, and I'm not talking about the seasoned pros. I'm just talking about, just not normal, not like me, recreational grassroots, player, but yeah, there's those people. And then, affectionately, we call them clubbies, right? Club WPT players, they're here in droves. They're having a get together here, right? WPT global qualifiers, we're writing like visas, invitation letters and stuff like this. People are calling our office. Ryan Beauregard, the executive poker operations here at Win, him and his team taking calls at like 7:00 in the morning from like people in Texas and North Dakota and, India going, oh, what are the hotel rates? Like it's, I don't know what to make of it. I feel like there's something special that's really happening here. And, I and the company's not the type of bunch of people to believe our own PR and, drink our own Kool-Aid, right? Like, I think, that's the death knell if you're going to be one of those types of people. But everything that we're hearing and seeing and just, unsolicited feedback from everywhere seems to indicate that, there is a surge, a resurgence.
It seems that way. Do you think that's down to COVID though, or do you think there's some other reason behind that?
Maybe it's just a mixture of everything, Chris. COVID still certainly, but as I said, the US, has been, plugging along quite nicely. Massive turnouts for its tournaments, around the world. Certainly, people have been enjoying, poker. Coming to casinos. It's not as restrictive as before. Quarantine regulation, that's all out, kind of like the window. So maybe it's just a combination of different things. Maybe people are just like, they just want to celebrate 20 years with WPT and, have a look at what happens when a brand like Win Las Vegas and WPT come together. I have no idea, but it's a mixture of a lot of things, I think. So, we're just that's why I'm cursing you're not here. You're not going to be able to in real time. But I hope that it's gonna resonate. It's gonna be felt, outside of Win Las Vegas, and yeah. I think I hope I hope it continues, right? Because
Yeah,
whatever is good for one brand or two brands is just great for the entire
exactly.
industry, right? And I think we have to have we're all part of that, and any way that we can contribute, even our chat now, right? There could be somebody that's like listening and going, oh my gosh, I can't come to Vegas this time around for World Championship at Win Las Vegas, but man, like I've just seen that they've announced X stop, I'm going to this new location. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have a crack at that. So, let's see. But it's freaking super, super thrilling. Super for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And where do you think, well, I mean, you're saying there's a resurgence, so I guess that's where you think poker is heading into a bit of a, giving it a bit more life. Like it's been
Yeah.
stagnant for a while, but I guess that's where you see it. If you could change something about the poker industry, what would it be?
Uh I because we're such a niche group of people, right? Like you have to be
Yeah,
a certain type of
it's true.
personality, a certain type. And I just and maybe I'm not. I have to cast my mind back a long time ago, but I think it's incumbent upon us, right, who has a piece of the pie, to really just try and do everything we can to make it as attractive,
Hmm.
as inviting, as enticing as you can make it. And I'm not talking about like some players just want to play, right? They don't want to freaking, like throw a welcome party for every single bloody person that comes in, but like be nicer, be a good human being on the table.
Hmm.
Don't be a jackass. Don't be, don't make it so unappealing for someone like me, someone who is not
Hmm.
like me. Just that environment don't take much, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's again not like freak. It's poker. I'm not gonna freaking give a hug to every freaking player sitting on my table. I'm not talking about that, but let's curb that impulse that is within all of us to just, not yeah, don't be a jackass. I mean, that's it's completely oversimplifying it, but I'm
Yeah, yeah,
trying to convey something that's just a very simple thing, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that is like, we, you know, you don't, not everyone's going to be in a position to make, decisions. Not everyone's going to be a leader in the field, or, the top dog or whatever, all of this stuff. But we are all part of this industry, and whatever we can do to retain, right? If you can't acquire, then you must retain. Acquisition and retention, right? That's completely oversimplifying it, but if you cannot acquire human beings into the ecosystem, and I'm not just talking about the live tour playing and stuff, right? Could be online as well. Everything, could streaming TV, whatever it is, right? You must. I believe everyone can play a part to make sure that we grow the game so it
Mm.
doesn't become stale. So we inject more blood into
Yeah.
the ecosystem. That's not freaking hard to do. It really isn't,
Mm.
you know? So I don't know, treat players just the way that you want to be treated. And I reckon that's a freaking simple recipe, right? Not rocket science.
Treat people as you wish to be treated, which is obviously a philosophy which you carry into pretty much anybody's life at any interaction,
Yeah,
any time they're anywhere.
that's what I mean, right? We're not talking rocket science here. We're just
Yeah.
talking like really basic human skills
Yeah.
of interaction, and you don't have to be a poker player, just like a decent human being. And that's your contribution. And if you happen to love this game, whether you're recreational like me or a seasoned pro, or anywhere, somewhere on that spectrum, then I think it will serve you quite nicely in life, not just in poker,
That's for
you
sure.
know?
And I definitely
Mm.
think that, some of the attributes that poker players need to be successful obviously transfer into life as well. Like you see a lot of traits and I'm sure in your profession as well, your success transfers into life as well. And it's just the way it works.
kind of the way it works.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us, where is the World Poker Tour headed in 2023? Now, I know you said you're going to release the schedule soon, or like, is there anything
Yes.
you can tell us about the general direction?
Yeah. I'm not going to divulge the stops because my marketing and media
No
people are
problem. I'll kill you.
going to kick my ass. So I don't like to do that. I don't like
No
that.
worries.
But I think that, again, as I said, all the staples, all the fan favorites are going to be, coming back. And remember, we're only releasing the first half because this is one of those things, again, like, we have to wait for many things, to make sure that they're all in place. But yeah, we have some new additions to the live global tour. I'm freaking so excited, once it gets, announced. And so, yeah. We just have to. We don't have to wait for very long. That's the good news.
When does it come out? Tell it. When does it come out?
I reckon it's like next week.
Okay, so really soon.
People, very, very, very soon. So, and then, and that's just the first half. But even there's going to be some stragglers to the first half, right? Because again, not everything is like perfectly synced, perfectly aligned. But we will announce, what we can. And then after that announcement, don't be surprised if there's a couple of more sprinkled from January to June, the first half that we'll announce thereafter.
Okay, exciting stuff. Watch out, everybody, for that one.
Yes.
Okay, and obviously with the live events and things, there are obviously lots of fun things that happen. What kind of crazy stories can you divulge of your time around the poker tours? You must have some good stories here, Ange.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be disclosing it at 8:02 a.m. Las Vegas time. And even if it was those types of stories, Chris, you're going to have to hear them when you're in front of me and we're having a couple of beers, right? Like, or a couple of bottles.
What PG stories do you have?
PG stories, but they're not worth telling, are they?
I guess not.
And I'm quite boring. I don't know any of those really good, awesome stories, but I think there's gonna be lots of. I mean, just talking about stories and narrative, I think there's gonna be a lot of, fantastic narratives that's going to be coming out of the next 20 days here at the Win. So I hope to share many of those things as it unfolds, but it won't be coming from my Twitter or Facebook account, that's for sure.
All right, fair enough. What is your favorite thing about working with the World Poker Tour?
My favorite things. You really like these favorite questions, don't you? Right? You like. I think nothing is ever the same. I mean, there's what I mean by that, just purely from the global live tour, right? Like it's like baking a cake. There's going to be certain ingredients, going to be certain ways to cook something, but for the most part, in its element, there are basic things that you absolutely have to nail down. But it's the fun things that you sprinkle throughout it, right? It's those things that's just like, oh yes, let's go and have an Easter egg hunt where prizes will be given away, right? Because to celebrate our 20-year anniversary, right? We have a Doyle Brunson signing book where he autographs your book, right? And in one of those pages, my friend, there is a $10,400 seat.
Wow, that is so cool.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's freaking of course, it's like top secret. You don't know. So you're just you're lining up and then bang, there it is. Oh my God, like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory type going on here, right? So that one just makes me laugh because it's so much fun. And same thing with our we have so many giveaways happening, right? And they're done in creative and fun ways. Those are the things that you just sit there and go, that's within your control, right? No government agency is going to be able to tell you what you can and can't do on that front. It's your money. You go and give it away. It's yesterday we just had like a play with Phil Ivey, one of the at his place, right? Like all our talent and ambassadors are there. It's strictly just for our Club WPT qualifiers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah.
It's those things that it's a money can't buy experience.
No.
Those are the fun parts, right? And then what makes it even more fun is because the people that come up with these things, right? The people in the company. I
I
mean,
know.
we come up with our people are so freaking creative. Like you should be in one of our R&D brainstorming sessions. I mean, it would freaking spin you out. You know, the things that would come out of our mouths and go, oh yeah, what do you think of this? Oh my God, let's go and refine it to this. So, 20, 50 ideas on the board, they're all freaking insane. And then you pare it down and not make it so bloody outrageous and
Yeah, realistic ones.
realistic ones, right? Exactly. And yeah, so nothing is the same, nothing is boring. You're freaking surrounded by people whose DNA is like to deliver the best freaking thing, that they can, deliver, a triple plus, sort of mentality in terms of, that experience. What you can't miss. You can't miss. That's the best part, right?
It sounds fantastic. Well, I think on that note, we shall end things. It was
Right.
great to have your insights there, and from a perspective of being inside, the World Poker Tour. It's such a famous brand. They've been around for such a long time. I've played them myself, and it's just really awesome to hear your perspective on all of these things. So thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure having you on.
You're so welcome, Chris. Anytime, mate. Anytime. And hopefully, you still have time to jump on a
Yeah.
plane. I can see you and share those, crazy ass stories if you are, so please. But if you can't make it this time around, we're coming over to your side of the world very soon. So
Nice.
much looking forward to that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ange. Have a good day.